Hello, entrepreneurs. Joe DiChara back again with another fantastic episode of How to Win at Business. And what does WIN stand for? That I'm glad you asked. Win, W, why, where, what, who. What's the reason why you're in business? That's what W stands for. I, integrity, intentionally. You have to do your business with intention and with integrity. And N, I put that there last but not least to remind myself never, 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 never give up. So that's my story. I'm sticking with it. This is all about how you can win in business and everyone can win in business. And if you don't know me, my name is Joe DiChara. I am the founder of bedrockbusinessbuilders.com and Bedrock University. So I welcome you. I invite you to visit me there. I got a lot of stuff going on, and it all revolves really about helping people organize their business. I help people make their business simple, hopefully fun, and profitable, and not always in that order, but hopefully I could show you how to have fun in your business, because if you're not having fun, folks, uh, why be doing this? Okay, so you want to make money. There's a lot of ways to make money, but isn't it awesome when you could do something, when you could find something that you love and turn it into money? And that's what I love doing. And this is one of the ways that I've learned how to serve people, and I got that from my friend Larry Broughton, who about 5 or 6 years ago said two words that really changed a lot for me, and it was serve first. Okay, so if you don't know Larry, you should look up Larry Broughton. He's the owner of Broughton Hotels. He's an award-winning entrepreneur, former Green Beret, and just one of those unbelievable guys that he loves helping entrepreneurs like you and I. And so he's obviously been a big factor in what I do. And going forward, I need to have people like Larry in my life, people that are a lot smarter than me, that have been there and done that, and also to help guide the path for me, because I need the same guidance as everyone else. And that's the funny thing. What I keep coming back to is the fact that life is tough. I read this in a book called, I think it was called The Road Less Traveled, or A Road Less Traveled, by Dr. Peck. I'm not too good on the titles and names, but I do remember that line, because what he said in there is life is tough. Once you could accept that fact, you could start enjoying it. Maybe not those exact words, but that's it. Life is tough. And if you started a business, if you're in business, you just added multitudes of that to the nth time. Okay, life is tough, and business is even tougher. Okay, I can help you make it simple, but it's never going to be easy. And that's one of the things that people like Larry do. They make it simple. People like Robert Kiyosaki, Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield, Napoleon Hill, all of these people, they lay out uh, the fundamentals of being successful in business. And all you got to do is find one of these people or several people like I have and follow them. And like I said, it's not going to be easy. It'll take years. It will take years for you to achieve what you're trying to achieve. One of the things you have to nail down is, what are you trying to achieve? Okay, that's the W in win. What are you trying to achieve? And how are you achieving it? Yeah, how are you approaching your business with intention and with integrity? And are you willing to never give up? Okay, and that's what it takes. So, you know, I bought Larry's book, Victory, a couple of weeks ago, and I thumbed through it. But last night I actually started, reading it. I said, let me read this, and I could read a book like this in a couple of hours, believe it or not, because it's an easy read, it's interesting, and I can just get uh, engulfed in it, and that's what happened. And what I love about this book, and I'm not, I'm not a paid spokesman for Larry Broughton. I'm not getting a commission if you go to Amazon and buy the book, uh, but I am a big fan because what he does, what he's done for me is what I try to do for my clients is, spell it out in simple terms. Listen, this is something that you have to address in your business. And if you're not addressing it, you're not going to be as successful as you can be. So I don't care if you go by the science of getting rich, Napoleon Hill, Tony Robbins, but the common denominator here, folks, is that everybody's got it down to fundamental principles. And what we do, and I'm guilty of this, is we want to overcomplicate everything. We want to say, oh, Steve Jobs did this because he had Steve Wozniak, or it's not complicated. Not everybody's Steve Jobs, but if you look at how he got where he got, it's basically the same way, the same path as almost everyone else that got to be massively successful. And the reason is because it's simple, but you got to be willing to do the work. Now, also, I'm not such a fool to think that guys like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Andrew Carnegie, Larry Broughton, these guys have special qualities and talents. But you want to know something? Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. Yeah, there's our God-given talents that there's nobody can do anything about that. Okay, I'm not 6'5", so I'm not going to be a basketball player. Obviously, I mean, there's guys that are actually shorter than me that became basketball players. But the fact is that you still need the talent to become a basketball player. But even if you have no talent, if you're willing to follow the steps that people like Larry have laid out and just put in the hard work, the time and effort, then you could become successful. A big guy now on LinkedIn is Gary Vaynerchuk. I keep hearing about him. And I bought his book called Crush It. He wrote it about 10 years ago. And it's the same thing. If you want to be successful in social media, this is what you do. He's giving you the formula. Now, he's got his own, Gary V brand and all of that. But the bottom line is, I don't care if you're a carpenter, a bricklayer, an auto mechanic. The only thing stopping you from being massively successful is following the simple principles that have been laid out. Now, how you do that is entirely up to you. Your facts, your talents, your circumstances are going to dictate all of the details. Because, yeah, there are details that have to be tended to. But Henry Ford was not the smartest guy in the world. In fact, there was a famous lawsuit that he brought against a newspaper for defamation of character, basically calling Henry Ford an idiot Okay. Now, he might not have been the smartest guy in the world, but he knew enough that if he needed something, he would hire somebody that knew everything about that. And that's what Andrew Carnegie did. And that's what Steve Jobs did. Steve Jobs wasn't a coder. He didn't create computer codes. Okay. But let me get back into what I was really looking forward to going through this exercise tonight that I borrowed from Larry and I expanded on it a little. And what Larry talks about in here, and I'll tell you where I got this from. This was on page 119, action step, do what you do best. And this is in which chapter? Anyway, you could find it if you buy the book. But what it is basically every business is a whole bunch of stuff, if you think about it, that has to be done. There's a lot of things in every business that has to be done. Now, I don't care if you're selling ice cream, if you're running a hot dog stand, or you're building computers. There are certain tasks that have to be done. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And hopefully the end results in more money in your bank account than when you started. That's what a business is for. So if you can break everything down in the business into departments and then tasks, and then you could start looking at who's doing what and how are you going to handle this task. This is one of the, Larry calls them systems, operations. People don't like the word systems, but the bottom line is the big companies became big, like McDonald's, because they have systems all over the place. Everything becomes a system. How are we handling this situation? So I'll break it down for you. Every business has three major departments. Okay, I don't care if it's a candy store or IBM. There is sales, there is production, and there is administration. So you're either producing something, you're selling it, or you're keeping track of it. That's it. Three areas. So if you know that there are three areas of your business, now you could start segregating it. And what I'm asking people to do now is to, the bulk of businesses in the United States are sole proprietors and solopreneurs. And the only difference is I'm a solopreneur simply because I incorporated. So I'm not considered a sole proprietor. Okay. If you want to take your business to another level, you have to start looking at it as a business. And if you are doing everything in that business, you are limited to what you can do in any amount of time. And this is what I keep saying, people, about that business can be, it's scientific. If you want to run a business, instead of owning a job or having a job, you have to look at your business the way a business person looks at it. So there's sales, marketing. Marketing is part of sales, but you got to be selling something. I've been marketing my business for a long time, and it doesn't necessarily equal sales. So you got to have sales. Okay. There's production. You have to be producing something. Now, the funny thing is when I thought about this, you don't even have to produce anything. Somebody else could be producing it, but there's still some production. So for instance, I could make a fortune just selling other people's stuff online. It's a business, but my production becomes something else, but there is still production. I'm using other people's products, but I still got to produce how I'm selling that, if that makes sense. I still have to produce my web pages, my content. Okay, so that's the production part. And then there's the part that nobody likes that I do, which is the accounting, the administration, the insurance. Okay, so what I like to do is I want to share the screen with you. And what it comes down to, what Larry teaches and what I believe and what I know, is that the more focus that you could get and the more time that you could spend in the areas that you excel in, the more likely you are to succeed. So what I did was I took Larry's suggestion in here, and I'll tell you what he said. He said you divide the page into 3 columns, and you could see that I didn't do that. I have 5 columns. But what he says here is, title the first column doing, the second column great at, and the third column love it. Okay, so all I did was I expanded on that, but the result is going to be the same, because at the end of this exercise, what you want to do is you're going to be looking at all those things that you're great at and you love doing, and you're going to want to be spending the bulk of your time in those areas. And the ones that you're doing that have to be done, that you're not great at and or you don't love, well, those are the things you might want to start delegating. Now, also, there could be things that you're great at, but you don't love doing it. Well, that's something that you might want to delegate as well. Okay, I'm great at bookkeeping. I'm great at doing taxes, but I don't want to be doing everybody's bookkeeping. I have bookkeepers to do that. I don't love it. That's not my sweet point. It was a long time ago. When I was a kid and I got into it, I loved learning about it and doing it. But after a while, it got boring, which is probably why nobody really wants to do it. So anyway, what we do here, and I'll tell you how I modified this a little. Up here, I made this part of my own curriculum, if you may. This is part of my system that I offer clients. And before I go on, let me mention that I have a mastermind now, a free mastermind group, and you could register by going to mastermindwithjoedechara.com. And this week I will be covering this exercise. So if you join the mastermind, you're going to get the worksheet, and we're going to go through it, and we'll have hot seats or whatever. So, and this is what we're going to be doing. It's all about training, teaching entrepreneurs the fundamental principles and the tools, and providing exercises like this to help keep you on track. And to be honest with you, just putting this together and thinking about it helped me with my own business. So, we want to practice what we preach, folks. And that's what I do here. So what I started doing, and I'm doing it, and I'll show you, I have my own worksheet here, where I started filling in all the tasks. Okay, so, there's, and every business has a bunch of different tasks. So I created a worksheet, and probably 2 pages aren't going to be enough. And you'd be surprised when you start going through this, you'll start seeing all the tasks that you're like, I can't believe I actually have to go to the post office and mail stuff. That's part of my business. That's something that you don't want to be doing. Okay, so you list all of the tasks, and over here, and I just want to do this as another way to identify what your business is all about. In this column, which Larry doesn't have in his book, I'm going to talk to him about adding it in his next book. This is the area, the departments that I talked about. Is it sales? Is it production? Or is it administration? Okay, so you're going to put, what the task is, and I'll give you an idea by using my own. So the first thing that came to mind was my own bookkeeping. Okay, then I have bookkeeping for clients. That's part of production. Okay, and then I have Kartra stuff, website stuff, which I'm still doing. But anyway, that went into the different areas. Okay, bookkeeping went into administration for my own bookkeeping. Bookkeeping for clients actually goes into production because that's part of the production side of my business. And things like with the website and social media, that's all sales and marketing. So in the next column, you check off if you're doing it. So right now, like the website, I'm actually not doing that anymore. I gotta cross that off. I'm not doing it because I outsource that. But I'm still gonna put everything down here, because the great thing is now you could actually take this information and create your own like business operations manual, which is another thing that somebody did in the book that Larry describes. They actually instead of writing it, they videotaped everything. So it's really, I'll probably go through some more chapters in this in other Facebook Lives. So the idea is that once you're done with this, you're going to have a list, and you're probably going to start scratching your head saying, I can't believe that this is what it's come down to. But it happens, and it's not something you just do and you put away. These exercises are things that you go through time and time again. Because what happens? Business changes. Business is fluid. Okay, every day is a new challenge. Something else happens. Business. I don't care if you're selling widgets. The only business that I don't think has changed in 40 years is the ice cream truck business that I was in. It's still the same. There's no computers or anything on those trucks. The only thing that changed is gas went up, and everything's the same. It's freaking amazing. So anyway, when you get to the end of this, what you're going to start doing is you're going to see all the tasks that are not in the great at and love it column. Okay, the ones that are, you want to circle those, and if time permits, you want to focus on those areas. If you're great at networking and you want to spend more time in networking, when you get to the areas that are in the D that you're doing, and you don't love it and you're not great at it, that's where you got to look at either automating it, delegating it, or eliminating it. Okay. And that's my story. I'm sticking with it. I hope that you enjoyed this as much as I did, because just explaining it again gives me some more ideas on how I might be able to utilize this, not only for myself, but for my clients and so on. So again, I want to invite you to mastermindwithjoedechara.com every Wednesday and Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be meeting. Register, it's free, and we will be going through activities like this, and we'll be doing hot seats and really amazing stuff in the mastermind group. So that's my story. Joe DeChara. Visit Bedrock University. Book a free chat with me at Time with Joe, and go to mastermindwithjoedechara.com. I hope that's enough for you tonight. All right, good night, and happy Mother's Day, everybody. Sorry, I almost forgot about that. Love you, Mom.